You're listening to Healthy Living with Eric Sue Podcast, episode 134.
Want more from Eric Sue? Watch him on Facebook Live every Friday at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Interact and ask some questions. Visit facebook.com/Eric W. Sue Trainer to be live with Eric. See you there.
It's back. Now called Eric Sue Mastermind 2.0, it will be offered starting October 10th, 2016. Over 8 weeks, you will get Eric's proven health and wellness strategies to help you get your health back and achieve your fitness goals. Join in with other highly motivated people as we all support and inspire one another. Visit www.ericwsue.com/mastermind for all the details. Are you a first-time listener? Hey, welcome. My team and I hope you enjoy this episode. If you are a long-time listener, we thank you for your continued support. Do us a favor and share this podcast with all your friends because they deserve this amazing content as well. Okay, now on to the good stuff you all have been waiting for.
Health tips, wellness advice. No hype. Welcome to Healthy Living with Eric Sue, the show that inspires, motivates, and educates you towards the healthiest life. And now your host, Eric Sue.
Hey guys, Eric Sue here. Welcome to another episode of Healthy Living with Eric Sue. We have a super knowledgeable physical therapist, personal trainer, and functional diagnostic nutritional practitioner. Her name is Anglea Brown. We'll be talking about what functional diagnostic nutrition is and how it can benefit you. So without any delay, let me introduce you all to Anglea. Anglea, are you ready to make it happen?
I am. Hi there.
Awesome. Angela's always had an interest in sports. She was a cheerleader and played volleyball and softball throughout grade school and high school. But her true passion for the healthcare field began in high school when she took her first anatomy class. It was then that she knew she wanted to pursue a career related to the body and how it functioned. Her passions for nutrition and lifestyle turned into more. With struggles of her own health issues, she found a program called Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, or FDN, that helped her discover that she had some imbalances and dysfunctions going on. When she began testing herself and found that she truly did have some problems to address, she immediately knew that she wanted to add this to her practice. She became certified as Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Practitioner in 2014. With her love of health and wellness and extensive background in the healthcare field, she was able to assist any client in achieving their goals. She has a genuine desire to help people and can develop a plan to make you feel your very best. Anglea, that was just a little bit about who you are. Can you share with our audience a little bit more on how you got started?
Sure. I, many years ago, was going through, like you had mentioned, quite a few health problems of my own. I was at that time practicing still as a physical therapist and personal trainer, which I absolutely love, and I still practice both those in conjunction with the functional diagnostic nutrition. But I had a lot of hormone problems going on, kind of some stomach stuff, just strange things I just couldn't get to the bottom of. Went to the doctor quite a few times, and of course always was told to take this pill or take that pill. I was having so many side effects from medication, so I decided to go off the medications and see what else I could do to try to heal my body in more of a holistic manner. So I discovered FDN, the Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, and thought, this might be something I can pursue and see what I can do for myself. So I sought out a practitioner and started working with them for a little while. Didn't take long after working with them that I realized that I wanted to add this to my own practice. So in conjunction with working on myself and healing my own body, I started studying for it and then became certified a couple years ago. And now I would say it's probably at least probably 75% of my practice now is working with this. I just feel like there's so many other things that you can do with your body versus always going straight to medication, the sort of conventional way that usually is the approach for health problems. And just going through it myself, helps a lot when I deal with patients that really struggle, and being able to help them along the way with more of a holistic kind of functional medicine manner, it helps them a lot. And they can see their bodies changing and how they feel in a much healthier pattern.
Very good. We're going to get into a lot of that and discuss it a little bit more. But before that, let me ask you this. This is a fun question my audience loves to hear the answer to. And what's one cool fact or unique fact about yourself?
One cool fact, a cool fact is I have an identical twin sister.
Wow.
And we work about 5 minutes from each other, and we live about 30 seconds from each other. So,
wow. That is amazing.
We're pretty close.
Very cool. I have to share with you, I don't think I mentioned it to you in a pre-show, but I'm actually a fraternal twin myself. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Very cool. I know what you mean.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
It's fun.
Very good. So you mentioned this FDN, or Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. For everyone or anyone who's out there who has no clue specifically what that is, can you give us a good description, and how do you describe it to people?
So the basic premise of FDN is it's kind of like, almost think about like bridging this gap. So you have this functional medicine world and kind of like clinical nutrition, and it's kind of in between that. It's the conventional medicine world. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely a need for it. Absolutely necessity out there for it. But I like to take the approach of a little bit more of the holistic functional medicine side and get down to like the root cause. And that's the premise behind FDN, is to get more to the root cause. So instead of just giving someone a pill, for example, if they're having a thyroid issue, typically the way to go is to give someone a pill for that. But I still want to know why you're having that. We need to figure out what is going on with your body that is making your thyroid either not make the hormone it's supposed to and act underactive. So it gets more to root cause, and that entails different lab testing. There's different testings that I do, anywhere from hormones to gut testing, food sensitivity testing, which is a blood test, to see what's going on with your body and what path we take. There's definitely different paths I take for every single person. It's not a cookie cutter approach, which is a lot of times what happens in conventional medicine. It's very individualized, and it has to be individualized because it comes down to what I see on your lab test results.
Very good. And I was going to say that you really look for the root cause. I think that's what I got out of what you just said there, the root cause.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And so can you give us a few examples of what you have dealt with and who you have helped?
Sure. So actually a more recent client that I have, she's had a lengthy history, and she's fairly young, but had a pretty long history since she was a teenager with battling weight gain or just not able to lose weight, period. Always got tested for thyroid, went through a bout of taking thyroid medication for a little while, which did help her, and then all of a sudden it just quit working. So they switched her to another medicine, and she went through like 4 or 5 different thyroid medications and really just couldn't find anything that made her feel better. And in the meantime, the weight still kept coming on. So she kind of was obviously fed up with that conventional approach, couldn't really figure out what was going on. And she stumbled upon FDN. I think she actually just Googled it and found my name and contacted me. And the first test I did with her is something called a Dutch hormone panel. And it looks at your adrenal glands, it looks at your sex hormones, melatonin, quite a few different hormones. And what we found with hers was her adrenal glands were functioning, they were making cortisol in a normal fashion, but she wasn't using any of it the right way. And that's always a red flag to me that the thyroid isn't functioning correctly. And so lo and behold, we found out that most of the thyroid medications that she had been taking, a lot of them were not compounded. So they were more synthetic. So they had fillers in them, Some of them had gluten in them. Well, one of the big red flags for thyroid, anytime there's thyroid, is gluten. It's a horrible thing to have when you have hypothyroidism. So helped her in that manner to have her doctor switch her over to more of a more natural thyroid medication. And all of a sudden, her thyroid started working right. She was feeling better. She was losing weight. And then we did a retest, and it sure looked great. Her cortisol was working normally. She was actually using it in the right manner. And I think she's probably down a good 20 pounds in not a very long period of time.
Wow.
Just by looking at what her adrenal glands were doing in conjunction. Your adrenal glands work so in conjunction with your thyroid, and they're always overlooked. You get a thyroid test, and they don't look at your adrenal glands, and they go hand in hand. So it's really important, especially when I have any female that comes to me and says, I can't lose weight, which I get a lot. I always look at hormones right off the bat, not just thyroid. We look at the adrenal glands especially.
Very good. That's probably half my audience, if not a lot of my audience, who's listening right now who may be struggling with their weight. What symptoms would you, besides the weight, would you say that people should look out for before they come out and see you?
Anywhere from, I get quite a vast array of diversity of clients that come to me. So some are that they can't lose weight. Some are that they're having migraines. Some are that they're having stomach issues. Lots of food sensitivities. That's another really big one that I get people coming to me. They can't tolerate certain foods. Want to know why. So we look at that. And just hormones in general. I get a lot of men that come to me because they'll be having low testosterone symptoms, but they keep getting a blood test, and the blood test shows their testosterone is completely normal. So the doctor's like, you're fine. I don't know what you're worried about, but they're having all these symptoms of it. So that's another one. I'll do a hormone panel on them with this Dutch panel, and then a lot of times we see, okay, well, you might be making testosterone, but you're not using any of it. So there's different things we do to approach that versus just saying, hey, your testosterone looks normal. You don't need to go on anything. Well, if they're not using it, they absolutely need to go on something short term to help start using the testosterone the right way.
Yeah, I was going to say that your services are not just for females, and there are a lot of male issues to take care of as well, isn't there?
Correct. Yeah, I would say most of the men come to me for hormone stuff or like gut dysfunction stuff. And most of the women come to me usually for weight loss. Migraines, I've got quite a few women that come to me because of headaches, but again, that's usually connected to either food sensitivity or hormones.
Very good. Excellent. Now, is there something out there that's similar to FDN that other people are trying, or something that you could just mention? Because people get tested all the time, right? And
right.
What's the big difference between what other people may be doing and what you're offering?
So there's a lot of, you can Google and find out about functional medicine. The functional medicine world obviously is not as popular as going into the conventional medicine way. I would say program-wise, there's other programs out there that are considered functional medicine. Not very many, though, I would say. The thing I like about this is, again, I'll reiterate, is getting to the root cause. So if someone signs up with me to start doing a certain test with me, we go over, oh my gosh, there's probably 5 or 6 pretty extensive papers, questionnaires that I have them fill out. And what I like to find is a correlation. So if they get a test result back, and I see certain test results, for example, a hormone test, I get it back and I see a testosterone thing, but none of their symptoms on their papers that they fill out with me correlate to it, then we got to figure something else out. So I won't just give someone a supplement that, hey, you're low on this, let's give you something for it, unless I see on their paperwork that they fill out with me that that's a necessity. I really need to see a correlation, and that's what I think is so unique about FDN is we don't just say, hey, take this pill, because that's kind of going the conventional medicine way. I want to see some type of correlation And again, get to that root cause. I needed to look at your results and say, well, why are you having that? Even a food sensitivity. If someone comes to me and we do a food sensitivity test and I see that you have all these food sensitivities, there's something going on that's giving you these food sensitivities. You don't have them just because you have them. So usually I would recommend probiotics and some gut healing type of things for someone that gets a food sensitivity test back and there's like 45 food sensitivities on them. I want to know why you're getting all these. You should not have that many food sensitivities.
Right. It's kind of important to understand what the person is doing and then making sure that what they're doing is in alignment with what their goals are. And that's really important.
Correct. Yeah, for sure.
I'm just curious to know here, Anglea, when people go through your program, it's very important that they still do some physical activity, the personal training, if you will. And some people maybe need some therapy or something, physical therapy. Is that what you integrate?
Yeah, so that's what I like about this is like I said, my practice it's nutrition based. I do personal training and I still do physical therapy as well. If I have someone that comes to me that is just starting off with personal training, a lot of times we do start incorporating the nutrition aspect of it, and vice versa. I have some that come to me just for the nutrition aspect, and then they decide, hey, I need to do some type of movement. What can I do? So we'll start off with doing some personal training. If there's any injuries involved, then we have to address that. A lot of different routes that we can go with it. But the big thing, though, for sure, I always recommend with whether the person has come to me just for nutrition, if they're training with me or training with someone else, is to do some type of activity. That's part of my program that I recommend. One of the things I address is called Dress for Health Success, and it's diet, rest, exercise, supplements, and stress reduction. It's an acronym for that. And exercise is key, and it doesn't have to be an exercise that you don't like. If
Right.
you hate doing cardio, I'm not going to tell you need to go do cardio. If yoga is your thing or Pilates is your thing, then absolutely that's what I would recommend you do. You have to somewhat enjoy what you're doing. Not everybody likes to lift weights, and not everybody likes to go do cardio. If doing long walks is your thing, that's fine too. And if someone has never done really much of exercise at all and they're starting off with me, the last thing I'm going to have them do is, well, here, let's go do 45 minutes cardio. There's just no way. We have to do baby steps and progress them in. And so a lot of times we'll do a little bit of weight training. We'll throw a little bit of some really short bursts of cardio in there. I may even have them at home, go for a long walk 2 or 3 days a week. So I like to incorporate that into it. But again, it depends on that person that's coming to me. It depends on where they're at, A, what their goals are, and B, how much they've done in their past and how much wear and tear they've done on their body.
Yeah, exactly. And I was going to say that it's more of a long-term vision versus a quick fix approach.
Correct.
We're really trying to give people the program that works best to get them the solution so that they don't have to yo-yo back and forth. Because as you know, the quick fixes, people can't sustain that, right?
Right. And that's part of the program that I emphasize is this is not, I don't like to say that diet, for example, that's the word that I'm not a huge fan of as far as someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm on a diet. Diet's just a temporary thing. I want lifestyle change, and that's what I really emphasize is lifestyle change. This needs to be like a permanent thing. I don't want someone to come to me and we do the lab testing, they're feeling great, and then they go, okay, well, I'm good now, and they go back to all their old habits. They end up back at me within a couple months for the same exact thing, and we have to start all over again. And I've had that happen numerous times. And after the second time of doing it with them, they realize like that's probably not the route to go. So I like lifestyle change and incorporate into your daily life. Doesn't mean you have to be 100% perfect. I'm not 100% perfect. It's impossible to do that. And I want to enjoy life. So I try to do the best that I can. And that's what I tell my clients all the time is just do what you can, but realize that this needs to be an ongoing lifestyle thing. This isn't just a temporary, I'm going to do what I can, drop my 10 pounds, and now I'm fine. And I'm going to go back to all my old habits that aren't the best.
Yeah, exactly. And if anything, we all have to do something for a period of time, whether it be 21 days or 3 months or whatever it is, so that it becomes a actual habit and therefore a long-term lifestyle. So.
Right. And it's funny that you bring up the 21 days. The 21 days is usually that cutoff mark that I recommend to people if they're really trying to dial into healing and whether it's losing weight or just feeling better. I'm like, you need to be good for a good 21 days. That's like that mark where your body starts to say, okay, I'm actually going to start working on this and start healing. So, no going to McDonald's during that 21 days and going back to your old habits, or, staying up all night and getting 2 hours of sleep. You need to be good to your body for a good 21 days, and then go, okay, now you notice after 21 days how good it feels. That's what it should feel like.
Yeah. And that goes back to your FDN, which is, I think in my understanding, we all have to adopt new routines. We have to adopt new foods or new habits and so forth, right? Right. Exactly. And again, depending on the patient that comes to me, sometimes they're just too overwhelmed. So we have to do little baby steps with them and say, okay, we're going to change one thing at a time. We're going to change this one thing, and we're going to do that for a month. And then next month, we're going to change this next thing. So if someone's completely overwhelmed, the last thing I'm going to have them do is, okay, you need to cut all these foods out. You can only have these certain foods. And by the way, you have to exercise. And by the way, you also need to get 8 hours of sleep at night. That's just going to overwhelm a lot of people that are coming to me with no background of exercise or eating right. So we do baby steps with that. If I have someone that comes to me that, they're in decent shape, having like some hormone issues or stuff, it would be easier to transition them to a little bit more of an intense exercise routine or eating style, that type of thing. Yeah. I'm sure that you've done enough analysis and spoken to enough people to kind of get a sense of what the issues are. And then once you get the test results back, you kind of use that as reinforcement, right? Would you say?
Yep, for sure. And it's really nice to, when I get the results back, I always do a consult with the client to go over them. And every person that I do the consult with, they're sort of not surprised by the results because of the way that they're feeling, but they're also like happy to see that there actually is something going on versus it's all in their head and they're getting blood tests and the doctor says, you're fine, I don't know what you're talking about. It's really good to see those results and to explain them to them, this is why you're feeling this way, this certain hormone patterns going on or whatever it is. And, they start to see, well, this is a good reason for me to start working on this with my diet or get better sleep, whatever it is for them that they feel is their priority. And that's the other thing. I want to work with someone to, what is their priority as far as the healing pattern? So I give them the tools and say, this is what I think would help you, but let's start with, where do you feel like you should start? I'm not going to push on them every single thing right off the bat, but if there's something that they feel like this is going to be easier for me to start here, we start from there then. And then I always check up with them and see where they're at and what can we change next.
Right. It's sort of, I remind people when I still train some people here and there, and I still remind them that the whole program is like a recipe. You kind of have to do A, B, and C to get result D. You can't really do C before A sometimes and things like that. Right. Otherwise, the outcome may not be what you want. So having them understand that as well.
Right. And that's really, really huge is having them kind of think of that like you said, like a recipe. You have to do certain things and heal your body. Just like if I have someone whose adrenal glands are completely tanked and they're not really making any cortisol anymore and they're just completely stressed out, I'm not going to go tell them, by the way, you need to go do 45 minutes of cardio every day. That's too much stress on your body. So it's all individualized for what I would tell them for an exercise routine, depending on what they would see from their test results. And they'll know. I mean, as soon as I tell them, hey, this going on, a lot of them, there is some type of symptom correlation. They're like, man, no wonder I feel like this because I see these test results now. So it's confirming for them. It almost makes them feel better. Like, great, now I know what it is. Let's get to work.
Yeah. We're almost at the end, by the way, Angela, and it's very, very good information, great value I think you're providing about FDN and your approach to health and wellness. Just the last few questions, if that's okay with you.
Sure, absolutely.
What would you say to someone who just wants to make the right moves, just do something for the fall, to feel better? Obviously, CU would be a great choice. What else could they do on their own?
One of the things that I really preach to my clients is to every day do something for themselves. So, I get a lot of moms that come to me and they don't really have a lot of time for themselves. I even get the working businessman who he's just working to death and doesn't give any time for himself. So it doesn't have to be, you're going to take 20 minutes a day and meditate for 20 minutes. It can be 5 minutes. And if that 5 minutes entails that you're just turning your phone off and not on social media, checking your email, all that stuff, that you're just taking 5 minutes and thinking about, what you have good going on in your life. It could be literally taking a 5-minute walk, putting your headphones on and getting away from wherever you're at. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you have kids at home and you're like, how am I going to get 5 minutes for myself? Well, when they lay down for their nap, take 5 minutes for yourself. It can be taking a book and literally reading for 5 minutes. Just do something for yourself. That is huge for just helping your stress release, helping your body heal and come down.
Excellent. Very good advice. Do you have anything else you want to share? Or?
I would say that most of the clients that I see there's definitely something going on. They don't come to me because they're healthy or they feel amazing. There's always something going on. Usually, I have some that come to me, they don't really know where to start. So I have to get a lot of history from them and their background and figure out, well, where do we start? Do we start with a hormone test? Do we start with a food sensitivity test? I would say 90% of the time, I do start with a hormone test. I think that's the basis. If your adrenal glands aren't working right, it's pretty hard to heal anything. But it just depends on the person. I like to get history. That's my big thing. Some people don't really like the amount of paperwork that I send them. And then once we get the test results, they're like, now I know why you got all these paperwork. You made me fill all these papers out. I get it. So I would say I'm really big into getting history from them. And I think that's truly important for me to figure out what the path is for them.
So maybe people could start working on a self-journal or something, or you may have these forms or handouts that people can kind of use to help them.
And there's a form that I do send to a lot of my clients once they're either taking some supplements or getting an exercise routine down, whatever. I have them chart day by day. If they're feeling really lousy, write it down and look at what they were just doing. They got off the phone with their boss or whatever and had an argument or got into it with their husband or something. And then 10 minutes later, they realize they feel really lousy. You write that down. That's a stress response. So you know that that's contributing. So think about that every time you're having a stress response, what that's doing to your body. So that's why I really like people to log what they're eating, how they're feeling, all that. It really helps me get further into their healing process.
Yeah, very good. And let's just say that people are really interested in getting to know who you are. How do people get a hold of you, Angela?
There's a couple of different ways. My website is stfluis.com/FDN, and there's a contact thing on there they can look at, and they can look at my different programs and stuff on there. They can also email me at angela@stlouis.com or call me or text me at 314-226-3137.
And I know you're on social media, is that correct?
Yes, I am. I'm on all of them. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
You can go ahead and check those details out, and we'll have all that information on the show notes, you guys. Is there one last piece of advice or anything that you would like to share with our audience, Angela?
I would say one last piece of advice is just baby steps. That's my big thing with everybody is don't overwhelm yourself. do one thing for yourself a day. And if you're trying to figure out what your next path should be, just think of one thing for that day that you want to focus on. Don't look too much into, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this next week? Just look at each day. What can you do for yourself that day?
Very good. Excellent advice. And I will be out in St. Louis for everyone who wants to know, October 19th through the 22nd. And maybe I'll see you down there, Anglea, as well, and we'll have a drink or so.
We plan on doing that. Yeah, sounds
Very good. Awesome, Anglea. Very good information. Very, very valuable for our audience. Thank you so much. And maybe we'll have to do this again. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks for having me on.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Healthy Living with Eric Sue. Head over to ericwsue.com for full recaps of every show in Eric's Health and Wellness blog. Your healthy living life is waiting for you. So stay active and be safe.